Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.
Hello everyone, welcome to Lukman IAS. In this series we are discussing the previous year questions of UPSC prelims exam, and today we are going to cover topics with reference to Indian polity. Okay, so today we are going to take 5 questions and these questions will be from Indian polity section. Okay, so let us see the topics from where we have taken the questions. We have taken a question from Money Bill, then we are going to understand about the Parliament of India, then we will look into a question with reference to vote on account and interim budget, then we are going to look into a question with reference to the fundamental duty, okay, and at last we are going to take a question with reference to historical underpinning of the Constitution of India. Okay, so when we talk about the syllabus of these topics, UPSC has mentioned the syllabus in the notification itself. In the notification, UPSC mentioned that like the syllabus for polity will include Indian polity and governance, constitution, political systems, panchayati raj, public policy and rights issues. Okay, so now let us see the first question for the day. Okay, so this question was asked by UPSC in the year of 2013. Okay, it was asked in 2013. Let us read this question. Okay, it says, what will follow if a money bill is substantially amended by the Rajya Sabha? Okay, so what is the central idea of the question? The central idea of the question is money bill. Okay, central idea is money bill. This question is based on money bill. Okay, so let us read these options one by one and then we will understand. Okay, and before that let us understand that the money bill is mentioned under article 110 of the Constitution of India. Okay, it is mentioned under article 110 of the Constitution of India. Okay, so money bill is introduced in the Lok Sabha, then once it is passed in the Lok Sabha it goes to the Rajya Sabha, and Rajya Sabha may consider this particular money bill, it may recommend some modifications in the money bill, but within 14 days it has to return the money bill to the Lok Sabha. Okay, so once it is returned to the Lok Sabha, then finally after passing from both the houses, like after the bill passes from Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, it goes to the President and then President gives his assent, it becomes an act. Okay, so if in case the Rajya Sabha does not pass a money bill, or if Rajya Sabha does not return the money bill within 14 days, what happens in that case? In that case also the bill is deemed to be passed by the Rajya Sabha. Okay, so Lok Sabha has more say into a money bill, and now who decides whether a bill is a money bill or not? It is the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. Okay, the Speaker of the Lok Sabha authorizes whether a bill is a money bill or not. Okay, so let us read these options. The first option says the Lok Sabha may still proceed with the bill accepting or not accepting the recommendations of the Rajya Sabha. Definitely. Okay, so once the Lok Sabha passes a bill, passes a money bill, it goes to the Rajya Sabha, then Rajya Sabha may recommend some kind of modifications, but like despite those recommendations, the Lok Sabha may still proceed with the bill accepting or not accepting the recommendations of the Rajya Sabha. This is the correct option. If we read the other options also, it says the Lok Sabha cannot consider the bill further. This is incorrect. Okay, because like with reference to money bill, the Lok Sabha has more power. Okay, if we talk about the third option, it says the Lok Sabha may send the bill to the Rajya Sabha for reconsideration. Okay, although the Lok Sabha may do it, but the thing is Lok Sabha does not need to do it. Okay, so it does not require any reconsideration for the Rajya Sabha. Okay, option D says the President may call a joint sitting for passing the bill. Okay, so when we talk about money bill, so no joint sitting is allowed in case of money bill, and no joint sitting is allowed in case of constitutional amendment bill. Okay, so joint sitting is allowed only in case where the bill is an ordinary legislation, where the bill is an ordinary bill. So that's why option A is correct. If I have to rate this question, whether this question is easy, moderate or difficult, I would say this is a very easy question, provided that you understand the nature of money bill. Okay, provided that you understand what is a money bill. Okay, so most appropriate option is option A for this question. Now with this, let us take another question. This question was asked by UPSC in the year of 2012. Okay, let us read this question. It says, consider the following statements. Union territories are not represented in the Rajya Sabha. Okay, so this statement is incorrect. Why this is incorrect? If we read Article 80 of the Constitution of India, Article 80 of the Constitution of India says that the Council of States, okay, Council of States means it talks about Council of States. What do we mean by Council of States? Council of States means Rajya Sabha. Okay. So Article 80 of the Constitution of India talks about Council of States, and it says that the Council of States shall consist of, okay, 12 members who are nominated, okay, 12 members who are nominated by the President, and not more than 238 members, okay, not more than 238 members that are elected to the Rajya Sabha from the states and the union territories. Okay, so like 238 members to be elected from states and union territories. Okay, from states and union territories, and so 12 members are nominated. Okay, 12 members are nominated by the President. So that's why the Rajya Sabha has representation of the union territories also. Okay, so that's why option like statement 1 is incorrect. If statement 1 is incorrect, we can eliminate some options. We can eliminate option A and we can eliminate option C. Okay, now we are left with option B and option D. Now let us read second statement. It says, it is within the purview of the Chief Election Commissioner to adjudicate the election disputes. Okay, so when we talk about disputes relating to the elections, okay, so in case there is a dispute related to any election, the authority lies with the high courts in India. Okay, authority for election related disputes, to try the election related disputes lie with the high courts in India. Okay, so an appeal has to be filed in a high court. Okay, that is known as election petition. Okay, an election petition has to be filed. Okay, an election petition has to be filed in a high court, and the high court may give its decision, and an appeal to the election petition lies to the Supreme Court of India. Okay, so in case of a dispute, okay, so the authority to adjudicate the election disputes lies with the high courts and the Supreme Court. Okay, so it generally lies with the high court, and its appeal, okay, appeal to the election petition, appeal against the decision of the high court lies with the Supreme Court of India. Okay, so that's the thing. So second statement is also incorrect. Okay, first statement was incorrect, second is incorrect. So that's why correct answer for this question is option D, which says none. Okay, now let us read the third statement as well for your better understanding. It says, according to the Constitution of India, the Parliament consists of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha only. Here we need to focus on the keyword that says only. Okay, why? Because when we talk about Article 79 of the Constitution of India, Article 79 of the Constitution of India says that the Parliament of India consists of the President of India, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Lok Sabha is also known as House of the People. Rajya Sabha is known as Council of States. Okay, so that's why it does not only include Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, it also includes the President. Okay, it is also important for us to note that the President is not a member of either house and he does not participate in the sittings of the house, but he is an integral part of the Parliament of India. Okay, so that's why correct answer for this question is option D. Okay, option D is the right answer for this question. With this, now let us move to the next question for the day. Okay, this question was asked by UPSC in the year of 2011. Okay, let us read this question. It says, what is the difference between vote on account and interim budget. Okay, here we have to identify the difference between vote on account and interim budget. Okay, so when vote on account is used, vote on account is basically, it is an instrument through which the government may appropriate or withdraw money from the consolidated fund of India. When does vote on account happen? It happens generally, okay, it happens generally just after an election. Okay, so like when the budget is not passed, generally what happens, vote on account is done. Okay, vote on account, okay, vote on account is passed by the government, okay, till the time the budget is not finalized, or budget or appropriation bill does not become an act. Okay, till the time the budget and appropriation bill does not become an act, government passes vote on account. Why does government passes vote on account? They pass vote on account to meet the expenditure of the government. Okay, to meet the expenditure of the government. Okay, but vote on account is passed only for a period of 2 months. Okay, for a period of 2 months. As you know, like in a year we have 12 months, so this 2 months period constitutes 1/6. Okay, it constitutes 1/6 of the, okay, of the total amount, okay, total amount that the government withdraws. Okay, so that's the thing. Here we need to understand that like vote on account is a temporary measure. Why it is a temporary measure? Because like using vote on account, okay, using vote on account, government withdraws money. It is an instrument for meeting the expenditure of the government. Okay, so here now let us understand this thing. It says the provision of vote on account is used by a regular government, while an interim budget is a provision used by a caretaker government. This statement is incorrect. Why it is incorrect? Because vote on account can be used by a regular government as well as a caretaker government. Similarly, interim budget can also be used by a regular government and a caretaker government. Okay, so that's why this is incorrect, because here they are saying vote on account is used by a regular government while interim budget is used by a caretaker government. But both the things, vote on account as well as interim budget, both of them are used by regular government as well as caretaker government. Okay, so that's why option A is incorrect. Okay, means statement 1 is incorrect. Now let us read the statement 2. It says a vote on account only deals with the expenditure in the government's budget, while an interim budget includes both the expenditure and receipts. Okay, this is correct. Okay, so vote on account is used only for the purpose of meeting the expenditure of the government. When we talk about the interim budget, it includes not only the expenditure, but it also includes the receipts of the government. Okay, so that's why second statement is correct. It means option B is the right answer. Here we need to find out the correct options. Okay, so if I have to rate this question as easy, moderate or difficult, I would say this question is a moderate level question, moderate to difficult level question for most of you. Okay, so it can be rated as moderate to difficult. Why? Because many people do not go into the details of understanding what is vote on account or what is interim budget. Okay, although we come across these terms frequently, but we do not give a thought to these topics. Okay, so with this, now let us take the fourth question for the day. Okay, so this question was asked by UPSC in the year of 2011. Okay, let us read this question. It says, under the Constitution of India, which one of the following is not a fundamental duty? Okay, so here we have to identify one of them which is not a fundamental duty. Means like 3 of the options will have those things that are part of fundamental duty, and one of them will be will not be a part of fundamental duty. Okay, so here you need to have understanding about what is fundamental duty. Okay, fundamental duties are mentioned in part 4A of the Constitution. It is mentioned in part 4A of the Constitution in article 51A of the Constitution. Okay, here in article 51A we have 11 fundamental duties that are mentioned. Okay, you need to memorize all those 11 things that are mentioned under the fundamental duties. Okay, it is important for you. Here we need to identify which of them is not a fundamental duty. Okay, so first option is to vote in public elections. This is definitely not a fundamental duty. Okay, to develop scientific temper, this is right. Okay, to safeguard public property, this is also a fundamental duty. To abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals. Okay, this is also a fundamental duty. Okay, so first one is not a fundamental duty. So answer for this question is option A. Option A is the right answer. And if I have to read this question as easy, moderate or difficult, this is a very easy question. Okay, this is a very easy question. Okay, this is a very easy question. Okay, so with this, now let us take another question for the day. Okay, this question was asked by UPSC in the year of 2017. Let us read this question. It says, the mind of the makers of the Constitution of India is reflected in which of the following? Okay, so this is a very generic statement. It is mentioned in Lakshmikant. Okay, if you are reading Indian polity book by Lakshmikant or D.D. Basu or any other book, so there it is mentioned that the mind of the makers of the Constitution of India is reflected in the preamble of the Constitution of India. Okay, it is reflected in the preamble of the Constitution of India. The preamble of the Constitution of India is an integral part of the Constitution of India. It can be considered as a preface to the Constitution of India. It gives you a glimpse like what does the Constitution of India constitute. Okay, what is the what is the structure of the Constitution of India? It is can be seen through the preamble itself. Okay, so that's why correct answer for this question is option A, preamble. Okay, fundamental rights, this is not correct. DPSP, this is also not correct. And fundamental duties, this is also not correct. Okay, so that's why option A is the right answer. Okay, so with this we have discussed all the 5 questions for the day. Thank you so much everyone for attending this session. I hope you have a good day ahead. Thank you.
Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.